Good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Rhonda Farrell, the Success Strategist. I am bringing you tonight from vision to reality, executing strategic business plans. This is week 31 of our Spotlight on Success for entrepreneurs and business leaders. Tonight, again, we're going to put you into action and motion. First of all, right, we're going to go back to our friend the clarity, alignment, performance, scale model. What do we have to start with is getting clear on where we're going, what we're trying to create, what we're building, how we want to align and aggregate that together, how we want to measure our results and outcomes, the targets we're going to make for our scaling activities. And then we need to undergird that with our marketing strategy, our resourcing strategy, our execution, and our operation strategy. And that's going to take us partnering internally, externally, with our customers and our clients and within the ecosystem writ large. So from 0 to 5 tonight, first is honing your vision. And what we're doing here is we're going deep, deep, deep in clarity on where you're attempting to go, right? So we want to pull that vision statement. We're going to pull those strategic goals. We want to pull those operational aspects. If this means you already have a strategic planning framework or we're standing one up from scratch, we can do that, right? But the biggest thing is to get that vision out of your head, out on paper. It could be a whiteboard, it could be a napkin, it could be a 3x5 card, it could be a very formalized strategic framework planning document that you're going and working with a consultant or a team or just yourself, right? The biggest thing is get that vision out of your head onto paper, and now let's start fleshing it out. What does that look like 1 year, 3 year, 5 years? Is there a balanced portfolio that you're trying to put into play? Is there a certain size that you're trying to scale your business to? Is there a geography or a new customer population that you're trying to serve? Is there integration that you're trying to do with your partner set? All of those are fair game, right? Channels, etc. It could even be the way that you run your business, i.e. the business model that you leverage, because all of those are capabilities that you and resourcing that you can bring to the equation. So again, number one, honing your vision. Doesn't matter, informal to formal, not done at all, partially done, have a draft, have something that you've even worked on before, right? The biggest thing is go into your gut, know where you want to drive to, get those gates down, get the big picture framework down, and then we'll go ahead and use our strategic planning fundamentals to flesh out your objectives, to understand from a SWOT analysis, from a pestle analysis, from a competitive analysis, from a strategic funnel and innovation roadmap perspective, what you're trying to do, right? Because the end game is results and outcomes that your client wants, that differentiates you from your competition, and that's in direct alignment with your core capabilities and the leader or executive or CEO or other that you're putting out there in the world. What do you stand for, and how is that instantiated through the lens of your business? And that honing your vision and the strategic planning fundamentals really bring all of those pieces together: the people, process, technology pieces, the technology roadmap, the overarching strategic framework that you're using to really steer your organization forward. So think of it as part sail, part rudder. It's really that triad of people, process, technology. We're just fleshing out what that looks like, as well as the targets. And more than that, the measurements, the OKRs, the KPIs, the metrics and measurements that you're going to use to gauge, am I on track? Am I off track? To what extent do I need to pivot at the next examination cycle? The next is putting it into action, right? So we have the vision, we have the fundamentals. Now we have to create a plan, digital or on paper, or again, on a napkin, whatever fits for your level of maturity. I would advise that you do it digitally, because and that you do it in some kind of tool so that you can align other objects to it. Because the biggest thing that we're doing here is this is our stake in the ground. That strategic plan is our stake in the ground that A, grounds our vision, B, creates the roadmap for us going forward, and C, helps us to operationalize for the next interval, whatever that interval is. It could be 1 year, 3 year, 5 years, a quarter, half a year, what, a month. You decide the interval, but the most important thing is you want to make it visible. You want to look at the extraction of that to see where you are every day. You want to become obsessed with achieving your goals and your objectives, your initiatives, and hitting your targets, because the more obsessed you can get about the execution and the realization, that means you're going to be driving the revenue. That means you're going to be driving the cost savings. It means you're going to be driving the partnerships. It means you're going to be driving the growth, which ultimately is going to enable you to scale 10 to 25x. What's interesting here is that we're taking those strategic goals and objectives and we're putting them into very time-bound tasking, right? Could be initiatives, because our goals can be further decomposed into initiatives, but at the end of the day, it's really about the tasking that we're then going to place on a resource to achieve execution-wise. And so we need a visible dashboard. We need some way to create the automation baseline for us to be able to say, again, are we on course? Are we off course? Do we have the right metrics and measurements to really ensure that we're hitting our outcomes and our goals that and our targets that we've stated is so most important for each of us? And then next would be execution and monitoring, right? So that dashboard is going to enable us to understand, as we launch initiative, as we assign resources, as we incorporate automation, as we do our analysis to understand if we're on track or off track, if we need to put in place new metrics, and most of all, what's our feedback loop for lessons learned? Are we, were we off clarity wise? Were we off alignment wise? Were we off implementation wise, right? We want to address any emerging risks. We want to look at that balanced portfolio. We want to understand if we've reached our investment time bound, our investment threshold, and did we get the results we thought in order to continue this particular work stream going forward, right? So at every point in time, we need to say, do I have a cash cow that I'm going to then reinvest in my nascent initiatives? What's my timelines for getting ROI, etc.? Did I gauge that correctly? And am I above, at, or below? And if I am, what do I do in each of those cases, right? So we want to have predefined the actions that we take, just like stock investing, right? I'm going to create my rule set for growth and trailing stops, or any other kind of investment that you do with equities or futures or anything else, that you put your rule set in play. You don't even have to think twice about it. The action happens because of the rule set. That's what we're doing here. We're creating a framework. We're creating the decision set. We're creating the automation that allows us to say, are we above, at, below? And then incorporating an action for when that happens. It takes all of the angst out of the decisioning. It helps inform our risk models more real time, and it creates a more structured, mature growth cycle if you're not trying to justify an action with something. I'm not saying it has to be totally automated. I'm not saying there shouldn't be some thought about go forward, stop, purge, but the underlying decision set or rule set should be set so that we're not making emotional decisions about very important business level investment decisioning where we need to be using the data versus only our gut, right? Pairing those two is going to help you move forward in a manner that feels best for you, that remediates risk and is likely to get you the highest level of rewards and outcomes. Next and last would be the power of lessons learned, right? We don't want to go through a cycle and then just simply repeat the same cycle without having continuous improvement, continuous innovation, really examining what we are doing from a process standpoint, from a practices standpoint, from a implementation of best practices, from an automation and an AI, right? Are we using our technological platforms to its fullest extent within this annual, semi-annual, quarterly exercise, right? Are we leveraging our processes and are we improving those? Are we taking what we learned from a go forward, stay, purge to put that into our rule set or decision set for the next round of analysis? And are we instilling these lessons learned and talking about those with our resources so that we can do process improvement on a real-time basis? So again, the lessons learned really helps us empower the business so that we can continuously improve and innovate. And this too, at its core, helps us scale further, faster. So again, 5 points for you tonight on week 31 of Spotlight on Success: from vision to reality, executing strategic business plans. Should say with impact, right? Because we're honing your vision, we're putting in place our strategic planning fundamentals, we're creating actionable plans, we're executing and monitoring, we're incorporating our lessons learned, and at the end of the day, we're going to be scaling further, faster. Again, this is Dr. Rhonda Farrell, the success strategist, the CEO of Global Innovation Strategies. If you liked what you've heard tonight and you'd like some help on getting your vision into reality and execution, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at CEO@GBLINNOVStratLLC.com or advisor1@successstrategist.com. We want to meet you where you're at, help drive you where you're going, and help you put in place the implementation and that 3-point triad: people, process, and technology to help you scale further, faster. Till next time.